Guys, Texas A&M is 11-0. Has that sunk in yet? Have you looked at a piece of paper with A&M and the 11-0 stat and just thought about that? Year 2 under Mike Elko, undefeated through SEC play. You beat Notre Dame on the road. You got one game left. A trip to the SEC championship on the line in year 2. And that team is Texas. It's right in front of you. You got to play your best football late. You got to put it all on the line and finish. And no, we've talked about it. This game is not must win. What did Ohio State do last year? You know, that left a sour taste in their mouths, but they will take it. Losing to Michigan and winning the championship. You can do it. It's a must-win game. You got to go and beat your rival. You got to go and leave no doubt, take it out of the committee's hands, keep them out of the playoff, and go get yourself in Atlanta for a chance for one of the best crowns in all the sport. I don't care about like the situation with the playoff. I don't care that you get a home game in round 1 in the playoff. I want to win the damn SEC. I think that's such a feather in a cap of a program. I think that's like, 1A is obviously the national championship, but the second best honor in all the land is the SEC championship. The best conference, the best teams, the most NFL athletes. I mean, I don't even have to tell you guys. That is a big deal that we all want to see, and you get the right to do that against your hated rival who got you at home last year. Revenge is once again on the line. Everything's on the line. You're on the road, and it's time for these Aggies to go play their best football. Guys, thanks for being here. This week is all about breaking down this game, but today we're going to talk about the Aggies and where they stand going into the fateful 12th game of the season. 12th man, 12th game, 12-0. It feels right. It feels like the time to do it. So thanks for being here, guys. Make sure you like, make sure you sub, and I want you to comment. What's your confidence level in this team going into this game? I think I'm walking in with some, nervous confidence. I feel great about the team. I feel great about the matchup against Texas, but it's a rivalry game and they have a chance to play spoiler and take your O, and that's always terrifying. That's the sport. It's a rival sport. I mean, these games take on personalities of their own. So I've always said, and I'm going to stick to it, no matter what happens between each team all year, Texas could have 5 losses, A&M could be undefeated, or vice versa. This game will always exist in a vacuum. So you can throw some stuff away, expend trends to be busted, but if A&M can go play their brand of football, not bring back whatever they did in the first half versus South Carolina, and go and play clean, physical, smart football, they can absolutely take care of business. So I want to talk about their chances of doing that by kind of just talking about this team as a whole. And we're just coming off that Sanford game, which was, you watched it, the perfect scenario for this team. You get Marcel Reed and the ones out there for about 4 series, maybe 4 or 5, something like that. You score 21 points, 28 points, you get them out of there. Perfect. You don't risk injury. You don't run the quarterback. He scrambles once. You don't really take much contact. You get a deep ball under your belt. Marcel Reed is quietly completing the deep ball, guys. Remember earlier in the year, this was a problem. He had 2 versus South Carolina, 1 early to KC. Obviously, the ABR touchdown, the second touchdown of the game. Really big stuff. And they had the ABR touchdown on the left side against Sanford. So that ball's coming in. It's not perfect yet. He missed one to KC in Sanford. But you know what? We're going to take that. What is that? 3 out of 4 in the last 2 games. That is improvement there. But we'll need to see continued improvement from Marcel and the rest of this team to get where you want to go. Still haven't played 4 quarters of football. You got 2 drives from Cassius Howell. He played 2. They left the ones out there, but they went Marco Jones, and they just rested Howell. He has so much to play for. He's so important to this team. Obviously, an edge rusher can affect the game in so many ways. Can affect every passing play. Obviously, a player that this defense builds their blitz packages off of. So you rest him. You don't take any risks there. And only 3 drives, I believe, with the entire defense ones. I think with that 4th drive, some more guys sat, like a Torian sat, maybe some DBs sat. So you got, a good burn for everybody. It wasn't a full bye week. You don't have to go worry about those rust or cobwebs. You get the full week of game prep, full practice, full game, and then you let the backups go and play. And I liked what they did versus Sanford. They really focused on what Elko called the 1.5s and the 2s. It were the guys who either get rotational roles in spurts, like a Dalen Evans, like a Landon Rink, like a Noah Mikael, like an Isaiah Williams, and they let those guys get a majority of the reps in this game. They didn't really go to the depths of the depth chart right away. They let those guys sit for about 2.5 quarters in the mid portion of the game. And that's huge because potentially a lot of games left and a lot of physical games, a lot of against really good physical teams, playoff caliber teams. So you're 1 injury away if you're this group of guys. We saw Jordan Shaw out there. We saw Miles Davis out there a lot. Miles Davis had a great game. These were important guys to get reps for. So you feel good about getting those guys some dress rehearsal reps against inferior opposition, obviously, but get them on the field and get them moving around. in this structure going in to the key ultimate stretch of the season. Because you're in the playoff now. Everything matters now. There's no more mulligan. That's done. Win every game. You need all hands on deck. You got reps. You feel good about that. I'm also wondering about what they can bring from that South Carolina game. How much is that thought process of what happened in that first half, the series of events that led you to spiral, pressing, quarterback trying to earn it all back on every play, maybe pressing a lot at the quarterback position, sailing balls high over and over in that second quarter, and then cleaning things up in a massive way in the second half. Because this will be the first, obviously, Power 5 opponent you play since then. I've talked about the fact that I think that's the best thing that could have happened to this team. You don't have a sleepy start from here on out. And I think this offense maybe learned a little bit about a couple of things that helped Marcel out when he's not feeling so good, and maybe just implement those things from the go. And that was tempo. That was getting him running, because after that 4th and 12, I think Marcel really locked in after that. Obviously starting that second half with a few completions in a row, but then kind of got off his axis, a couple of bad balls right after that. But then he runs, and then things clean up in a massive way from that point forward. So I think getting him moving around, hurrying this thing up a little bit, playing with pace, not the 2-minute offense, not NASCAR speed, but that 6-minute offense, maybe run that in spurts early in games. We'll see if they go to that. But I think overall the mindset is we don't want to play like that again. We know the consequences of that, and that felt terrible. I mean, as a spectator, we knew 30-3 sitting there at halftime felt awful, and I'm hoping that that's a spark for this team going forward into this game and the rest of the season. You bottomed out, you felt it, then you played your best. Let's focus on that best and bring only the best right now. Also, going on this road venue, what can they bring from those 3 road games they played in a row and won? What can they bring from Notre Dame? Obviously, this offense has played really damn well on the road. Defense, maybe not the best performances on the road, but versus LSU and Missouri, definitely good enough. Only that garbage time touchdown is what got LSU over their season average at the end of the game. I mean, for the most part, you lock these things down. Now, this will be the best quarterback you've gone up against for sure. Maybe all year. I think you maybe got CJ Carr while he's still on that learning curve. I think Arch is the best quarterback you faced. What can they bring defensively? Offense, can they continue to do what they've done on the road? And that's Marcel just kind of locking in and clearly thinking less and just going for it. That's what we've seen from Marcel Reed on the road. So we'll see how that pays dividends in this ultimate road test to close the season out. And again, Texas, best quarterback you faced all year. Probably the second best team you've played all year. Certainly the best team you've played since Notre Dame overall. And they're a flawed team. They're not a perfect team. But they are talented. They have high upside. And they are getting good quarterback play. So in a rivalry game, that can be the team that brings it in one given Saturday. It is possible for them to play better football in a given Saturday, though they are flawed, and we'll talk about that all week. But what does that team bring to the equation? And can A&M rise to the occasion? Because they're playing with their lives on the line. So we'll see if A&M can match the energy, and I expect them to. They've done it all year. They've risen to the moments. This has been a moments football team. Down at half versus LSU, play your best football. Down at half in a big way versus South Carolina, play your best football. Close defensive game going into the half versus Missouri. You get the turnover at the half, and then you play your best football and run it down their throat in the second half. It has been a team that responds and rises to the occasion, and they'll have to do that again on the road. But we'll talk more about Texas in tomorrow's video. I have Ghost of Texas Football and my brother jumping on the channel. They're both UT guys, 2 of my favorite UT content creators. They'll talk all things about Texas, fully scout them out. I'll drop that tomorrow, but today we're going to keep talking about A&M. I'm going to go position by position with A&M and kind of give you my overall thoughts going into this game and kind of relate it to the Texas game a little bit, but really just A&M centric here. We talked about Marcel Reed. He's improved a lot. He's shown that he's kind of a rhythm shooter. Obviously the 2 halves versus South Carolina. Obviously had a cold stretch in the second quarter versus LSU. Obviously versus Notre Dame, amazing, like 7 for 7 in a row, but then like a 1 for 7. So there's stretches of hot and cold from Marcel, and he seems to get in rhythm. That's why I talk about tempo and getting him running early is important for him. But overall improvement is great. The way you see him just go through his progressions is there now. That wasn't there before. And sometimes he's just sailing balls when he's on these cold streaks. Sometimes things just get inaccurate. Sometimes his mechanics get sped up. And that's really what it is. Throwing the ball too late and having to throw it really hard and overthrowing guys. That's where it really, breaks down for Marcel most often. But if he can find himself in a rhythm early in this game, that might be all he needs. Just find it early. And I think Texas will probably bring the heat at him. So some of these short routes, getting these wide receivers involved. I hope Mario Craver's healthy. That should help Marcel out a lot these games. Those receivers help him a lot and definitely help the numbers out. Because obviously those guys can take 5 yards for 20 or to the house. But Last thing on Marcel before we get into the wide receivers. There is a Heisman on the line here. And no, he's not the favorite right now. He's not even top 3 right now. But he is in striking distance. He has the 4th best odds. Diego Pavia passed him up with a monster weekend last weekend. But I don't think there's enough separation to definitively say that Fernando Mendoza has earned it just yet in Week 12. There will be 2 more games to do it if you earn the right to play 2. And Marcel Reed has played a season such that he is in striking distance, but he will need 2 phenomenal games to get it. So right now, he's obviously in our hearts, great leader, great ambassador for the program. Couldn't be more proud to call Marcel Reed our quarterback. But the Heisman, he will need true, nationally broadcasted Heisman performances back-to-back to earn it. Can he do that? I don't know. Going into the year, I never thought Reed would even be in the Heisman conversation. I thought he could get on to, like, basically where he is now in the conversation, but not really a true threat to win it. I would say he's probably a tick above where I thought he could end up on the upside this year. And good for Marcel, man. He's clearly still developing. He's clearly not what he's going to be. And he can win the Heisman. It's unlikely, but he can do it. So kudos to him, his development. Kudos to this receiver core who has helped him in so many ways, whether it's sitting in zones, catch and run, skying for balls, Casey Concepcion, now ABR, catching contested balls. First of all, hope to get Craver back this week. He was suited out right there in the huddle against Sanford. Probably would have gone against a more important game. I expect him to be there, and I expect him to be pretty good because he sat the second half versus South Carolina, practiced, and then, could have played versus Sanford. Didn't suit it out, but, right there. ABR, Isaiah Williams have really, really softened the blow of anybody going out, and that's been Craver recently. ABR is obviously right there with Craver and Concepcion right now. He's playing that well. He's getting open. He's running his routes. He's fast. He's a guy that can just burn past DBs. He's the fastest player on this team from reports, and he will continue to have a massive role. He's become a red zone guy, caught a corner fade, obviously caught the touchdown down the middle versus South Carolina, had the big catch and run. He can do so many things. He brings the size and length, and his emergence is so big. You got to bring that on the road. And Isaiah Williams to fill in as that 4th or 5th guy in the rotation. Excellent stuff. They help Marcel. They'll continue to do it. And I imagine that this Texas defense is going to dare Marcel to be a pocket passer and make these receivers go and win some one-on-ones or even beat some bracket coverage if you're KC or if you're Concepcion. Could be a big day for ABR. We'll see how they handle it now that more guys are emerging, but I think these receivers are going to have a really big say versus Texas. Offensive line has a massive test this weekend. Versus South Carolina, that defensive line will bring similar physicality to what Texas's will. They will also bring the star defensive end that Texas will in Colin Simmons. It was Dylan Stewart for South Carolina. And in the first half, those guys had a big advantage over the A&M offensive line. A&M couldn't establish a run in the first half. We saw them had to fade the run. Dylan Stewart was getting in the backfield, obviously had the big strip sack. That was by design. He was supposed to be a read guy there, but he's just a talented guy who had amazing ball get up on that play. But there were a couple of other plays where he was forcing himself into Marcel's window, forcing himself into Marcel's space. And though it wasn't jailbreak, guys like Crownover were giving up space. So that cleaned up in a big way in the second half versus South Carolina. Can this offensive line clean it up from the go? Can they go and be clean in their blocks from the go? Can these guys win the physicality matchup and pave a way for what we think will be a pretty healthy running back room going into this game? Obviously, a Joe Moore, just like Marcel on the Heisman, could be on the line this game. And if you're looking at Texas as a team, obviously they have some deficiencies in the back seven. There is no secret there. That is very well documented. Everyone that watches Texas sees that. But they are still very, very strong in the trenches, particularly on the interior, and they have Colin Simmons. So this is the ultimate test for the Maroon Goons, man. What's it going to be? We saw both sides of that token versus South Carolina, a similar physical look, but the Texas defense, they bring a really good linebacker core. I said they have better linebackers, even with Ty Anthony Smith out for a half. Anthony Hill should be playing. It's a really good front seven, but I expect this offensive line to battle them like anybody else in the country would at the best. So it's a real test for this O-line, guys, and it's like the one area of the entire team when I look matchup for matchup where I say, this is a real battle. This is a coin flip battle. I don't know who wins this battle. As good as our offensive line is, as good as we feel about it, that D-line can mess things up. They really can. So a really, really real and strong test. All right, if you've already commented your confidence levels on this team, add to that. Do y'all think Le'Veon Moss plays this weekend? I mean, we saw him in the Pulse last week in the South Carolina practice week. We saw him out there, at least in pads. We don't know what level of contact he was going through, but he had pads on. So I expect he's had at least 1.5 to 2 weeks of practice under his belt, whether that's like a ramp up or full go. I think we're going to get some Le'Veon reps this week, but we'll see come Wednesday when that first injury report drops. I think it drops Wednesday. I don't know if the Friday game will make it drop Tuesday, but we'll look out for that. I would wager that Le'Veon gets a questionable or probable the first injury report. But outside of that, I mean, Ruben Owens, I think, is playing by far the best football of his career. Pretty much since Mississippi State. I think he had a down game versus Florida, but since then, Ruben has been everything you could ask for. Playing with tremendous patience, playing with a tremendous wiggle, can kind of like just juke people out with his head and just quick twitches and quick turns and quick stunts, quick fakes. I'm really loving what we're getting from Ruben, and then E.J. Smith will have a huge role as well. And Jamarian Morrow, I don't know how much they'll lean on Morrow on the road in a big game. They did it versus LSU, so maybe Morrow gets some touches too. Morrow had a good run versus Sanford. We'll see. But there's a lot of options you can go with in this running back room, and if Le'Veon plays, that just really helps your downhill running, and I think we'll see A&M opt to do that a lot more. You know, they're getting more into the zone read, using the leverage of the quarterback a lot more in the run game. When Le'Veon is out, a lot more runs from shotgun. I wonder if they'll line up in pistol or even go under center at goal line situations like they do when they hand the ball off to Borkashire. I wonder if they'll do that with Le'Veon more, get more downhill if Le'Veon's playing, because he's your true short yard bruiser. Let's move to the defensive side of the football, and we can touch on tight ends. I think tight ends go hand in hand with the receiver room, running routes really well, blocking really well for the most part. I mean, I say for the most part, everything that's bad that's happened recently happened in the first half of South Carolina, but since then, we're getting tremendous blocking from Theo and Borkashire, and that has been such a night and day difference from last year, where it was a major weakness, I would say. And just running good routes, you know, catch and run from Borkashire, and catch and run from Theo. These guys are as helpful as they get, and you have multiple of them. So keep that going. I have a feeling in the play action game they could get some reps and get some important ones against Texas. Moving to defense, A&M's front seven. No secret that A&M has an advantage here. The Texas offensive line has grown this year. They've shuffled some players around. They're in a better place now. But even so, they're not a dominant group. They protect good enough to help a quarterback that's good at navigating pockets. You know, they help him make lemonade. They're not really generating clean pockets consistently, but enough for Arch Manning to work with. All that to say, the A&M blitz package, Cassius Howell moving him around, whether it's going against left tackle or right tackle, penetration from guys like Onyedem, getting something from the rest of the DB room, whether that's Hayes, Searcy, or Marco Jones, Rylan Kennedy. I think there will be pressures to be had this game. I think they'll generate them. I think we'll win one-on-ones. Whether it's every drive or every play, I don't know, but there will be opportunities. The major key here will be treating Arch Manning like he is Lenoris Sellers. And no, he's not as big, he's not as strong as Lenoris, but he's pretty close. That's a big-ass quarterback. Say what you want about Arch Manning and how he started the year. Arch Manning's playing some of the best quarterback in the country these last 4 or 5 games. I know they didn't show on the scoreboard versus Georgia, but he didn't get much help from his receivers in that game. They had a lot of drops. I think Arch is really the best thing about this Texas offense, and I don't think it's particularly close. He helps this offensive line out by stepping through arm tackles, by navigating pockets, by not bailing on passing plays, and extending plays and helping his receivers out by doing so and giving them accurate balls. Arch Manning is the real deal right now, and that is the number one thing that A&M will have to stop. You'll have to tackle very, very well. Arm tackles aren't going to cut it against Arch. If you get an arm on him, you need to cling on and get your body on him, or just be really physical with him and contain him. He escapes the pocket. He's not immediately looking to run, though he can. He is looking to extend plays and find receivers as time goes on in a play. These DB groups, A&M's DB group, I feel really good about. I love these guys in coverage. I think they're a really, really good group. But Arch Manning extending plays will cause these guys at times throughout the game to have to hold their water for an extra split second or so. And that's a big test. It's a quarterback who can legitimately go out and win a team a game. Don't let it happen. Contact him hard, wrap up, treat him like Lenoris Sellers, and these DBs got to be ready to go out and hold them for an extra split second whenever he does extend plays. But another really good test for some guys that are looking to make a name for themselves at the pro level. They have some good receivers. They have had some drops in recent weeks. I mean, obviously Wingo has as much catch and run ability as anybody in the country. The catching ability has been inconsistent for Wingo, but I would say over the last, second half of the Georgia game to now, those last, 6 quarters of play, he's been really good. And obviously the Arkansas defense doesn't offer much resistance, but he's not been dropping balls since then. Georgia did a really good job keeping the ball away from Texas in those games. Livingstone's become a safety valve, another big and fast receiver. Obviously, they have Moore and Mosley. Those are some guys that can really make things happen. But I really like this DB group, and it's a great test. It's a great matchup, and I think there will be a lot of islands out there with one-on-one receivers on our DBs, And I have faith in these guys to go play some football and not let things get over their heads. And of course, A&M's DB group has given up stuff underneath, and they're willing to concede that. Got to tackle really well. And I would say DB tackling in the receiver game, the short game, the bubbles, has been really, really good for A&M this year. Where the running game and the tackling deficiencies have happened, have been some runs in between the tackles with linebacker fits, setting the edge at times. That's where the main deficiencies have been. Good thing Texas isn't a great running team. Don't let this be the game where they become a running team, because Wisner kicked your ass last year. It just happened. This offensive line has not been getting a great push in the run game. These running backs have not had great vision. They've not been playing, solid running back football this year. Don't let that happen. But they will attack those flats. They will attack the screens. They will throw stuff outside. They will do the receiver throwbacks. They will do, the throwback screens, the slips, and like roll out this way, slip the running back this way. Got to be disciplined out there. Stay on your guy, stay on your gap, and tackle. A&M's been good there. Make it good again. Wrap up. Closing this thing out, this is the ultimate test of the finish mantra. It's the 12th game. You're 11-0. You are supremely the hunted. You cannot be more hunted than you are right now versus Texas, your heated rival. That's a scary equation. You are the better team in this matchup. You are the favorite, 2.5-point favorite per Vegas, or 2-point favorite per Vegas on the opening line. We'll see how that thing moves. They are already down in the season. They really don't have much to lose. They probably might not even make the playoff if they win, but they get to spoil your year. They do it at home. This crowd is electric. They're bringing the heat because this is like their second round in the SEC. They're excited. They're excited to welcome A&M to DKR. It's going to be an electric atmosphere against a team that wants nothing more than to take it all away from you. Every lesson A&M's learned, they've been the hunted all year. Every hurdle they've overcome, whether those halftime deficits or not playing your best football only to clean it up in a major way, or a close game finish versus Notre Dame. Every road stadium they've emptied on the year, hopefully you can do that again. It all comes down to this. Can A&M continue to chip away? Because there's still room for improvement, guys. They haven't played 4 quarters of football. Can they make that happen? Or is that just something this team has to live with, some uneven football? They play a bad second quarter, but they have to clean it up in the second half. Can you go out and leave no doubt and just put pedal to the metal for 4 quarters? That's what we really want to see from the team. Let the chips fall where they may. Play clean, all 4 quarters, complimentary football, both sides of the game, and we get it done. But guys, I'll give you my official score prediction on Wednesday. Again, we're going to do the Texas-centric video tomorrow where we scout them out. Look out for that one. And then we'll go live Thursday night to give you guys a chance to call in, talk about the game, and give your score prediction for a chance to make the Hall of Fame up there and to win a Marcel Reed card. And of course, we'll be live for the watch party on Friday. I'll be here. I'm kind of nervous for it, man. That's going to be the most emotional I'll ever be on camera. We want to beat these rivals so bad. We want to beat the piss out of them, man. And I'll be here living and dying with every rep just like you guys are. I'll just be doing it on camera, and I hope you guys are here to enjoy this together. I feel good about this team. I feel good about our chances. It's time to go do it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you then. Gig 'em.